Good morning, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here with you this morning. And yes, my company is called Etiquette Matters because it does really matter. And it's kind of a word that has gone out of our vocabulary, but etiquette is all about appearance, behavior, and communications. And so when you think about the etiquette at a wedding, you're very formal. If you're in a business setting, it's very different. Etiquette changes, whether you're in a different geography or a different business setting, so it's always changing. And we're at a time where if you don't know what the proper etiquette is in a certain situation, there is a big chance that you will end up on social media looking like a buffoon because you didn't know how to act properly. So before I talk specifically about my business, I'll just share a little bit of my background as to how I got into this. I grew up in a small town in Canada. And after college, my very first job was to work for Air Canada, and I got based in Thunder Bay, which was a big city compared to where I grew up. And if anybody's ever been to Thunder Bay, all of us Canadians call it the armpit of Canada for a reason, because it's dirty and it's stinky and nobody wants to talk about it. And anyway, my first job, I was in a back office, so I really didn't see anybody. But after about a year and a half, Air Canada decided to close our base in Thunder Bay, and they gave everybody an opportunity to choose where you'd like to go in the Air Canada network. I chose to move to London. So remember, going from the armpit of Canada to a cultural and art mecca, very, world class in many ways. And unfortunately, I didn't know how to behave. I embarrassed myself terribly at one of my very first events going there. And it was at that point, I thought, oh my goodness, I'm gonna get fired because I drank too much, I swore too much, I just acted like I was in Thunder Bay. So I sought out etiquette training for myself. And I trained with Protocol London. And why I share this is the fact that I saw my career start to take off. I went from being stuck in a back office to being able to go out and represent Air Canada, where they trusted me to portray their brand to other travel agencies, to resorts. And so I went from back office all the way up to doing charter sales in a short amount of time. And from there, I was recruited to start an airline here in the US as the director of sales and marketing by the time I was 28, which there's no other explanation other than the fact that people saw that I could represent their company and I could hold my own if I was going out and talking to people. That's the only differentiator that I had. And so when I got to the States, I found the job was too big for me. I mean, my social skills and ability to interact with people could only go so far. And so I got out of that. And I actually worked for a number of nonprofits. But when our children grew up and they were about to fly the nest, I taught them everything I could remember because they needed to know. You get out of school and you have no professionalism skills. That's not taught. And a lot of times it's not taught in the family unit as well. And so it was through their encouragement that I went back to school and I got a formal education and am now teaching it. And it's such a joy to be able to equip people, just as Thomas said it the best, good manners will open doors that the best education cannot. People will get out of school with great technical skills, but we know through scientific study that 85% of hiring decisions and promotion in a business, and even if people want to do business with you, is based on the social skills, the soft skills that aren't so soft. So what is business etiquette? Like I said, it's the soft skills. how you interrelate, interpersonal skills. It's the rules of appearance, behavior, and communications in a business setting. And we see that over and over, that the clothing that people are wearing has become more and more casual, which in the US is actually, I mean, it's acceptable in some places, but you will never see people working with international clients who do not dress appropriately. So it's really looking at how do we make individuals stand out to be the best they can be, to use the gifts that they have and make it better, not to make somebody fakey and starchy for no reason. We just work with them from where they are and improve them and move them towards excellence. And then also, etiquette is about helping to make people around us comfortable. So if you think about if you were to go to a really fine restaurant and your waitress or waiter came and had a big tongue ring sticking out, or something else that made people uncomfortable, we have potentially lost a future client with that. And so that's really what it's all about. So I work with, right now, a number of universities down in southern Minnesota, but I'm really trying to get more into the corporate end. And I really see medical and legal professions as being vitally important because they are highly competitive. When you look at medicine these days, people don't want to be treated like a diagnosis. They want to know that my doctor cares about me as a person. And we are seeing concierge medical practices opening up all over because they can offer something that the big clinics and hospitals can't, and that's that one-on-one service. So legal professions, we're dealing with professional arguers. I think they need a little bit of help in getting a little softer side in working with people. Obviously, business and sales executives, as well as international companies. The types of etiquette you would use for working B2B in America is very different than if you were working with somebody from China or the Middle East. And so those are the types of things that I can help prepare people who are going overseas, but also with companies that receive guests from overseas. And so that is another area that's a target market. Universities and young professionals, again, that's really where my heart is because that's where I was as a young professional, and it made the biggest difference. And I just did my very first student-athlete group down at a private school, but having networked with a number of pro athletes, oftentimes they don't know how to either network or represent their teams well. And they really are the face, and so that's another area that I'm trying to get in. My competition, as far as I know, up here in the cities, there are 3, but I'm the only one that also does international. I'm the highest licensed etiquette consultant in actually in the whole upper Midwest. And so other competition, it's the role models on TV that make bad behavior look good, and people then want to follow that, and that they don't understand that acting poorly or dressing poorly is absolutely going to affect their future and their paycheck. And so I really try to focus on those areas that are going to set people apart. And obviously, the unaware and oblivious, they're like, the world needs to accept me because this is who I am. And if they don't, it's their problem. And again, that really can hurt the potential futures for individuals. My revenue generation plan, it's primarily seminars and workshops. I'm just starting to do a little more with individual coaching. And I think that there's huge potential with that. There's a lot of people who aren't going to feel comfortable going to a class, as an executive, that I need help with manners or things that I'm uncomfortable with. So I think that's going to be bigger. And I'm also exploring downloadable content so that I can do videos and people can sit in the comfort of their home and take some etiquette lessons. But I really love to do where I'm presenting, because it's not just I tell you what to do, it's I want people to get out and experience it as well. So that is my presentation.
Kim?
Thank you.
Okay.